What's up, guys? GP here, back with another episode. It's been a little while since I made one. I've been really trying to brainstorm how I want to do book videos. I want to talk about some of the books I've been reading, and what I've decided is to make these videos very simple, under 5 minutes for sure. I'm going to choose a title that I've read. I'm going to tell you guys like when I read it, because some of them were a good amount of time ago. I'm going to tell you how I read it, so whether I read it, electronic, audiobook, stuff like that. And then I'm going to kind of get into my biggest takeaway. And for some of the older books, that's even a little bit more reputable in my opinion, because sometimes you'll get a certain takeaway as soon as the book's over, but then once you've let it simmer, you've got to listen to what your head's thinking a little bit more, kind of what message you derive from it. It becomes a little bit easier. And then last, I'm going to say who I think it's for. Who I would suggest this to, because I do get asked for book suggestions sometimes, and I try to cater them exactly for the person who I think I'm talking to, if depending on what they want. So that's what we're gonna do. So let's get right into it. So this first book that I am talking about today, I actually did listen to over audiobook, and I listened to it back in January of 2019. And the book is the Autobiography of Gucci Mane. This was actually kind of one of the first books I read as I started to really key up or really ramp up the amount of reading I was gonna do, really aiming for at least 1 to 2 books a month. And before I get too far, if you guys do want to see the full reading list, feel free to follow me on Instagram. And in my highlights, you can see all the books I've read over the last 3 years, really. Like I said, this was an audiobook, and this was an audiobook actually not read by Gucci Mane, if I remember correctly. I'm almost certain this was actually read by somebody who had reading it, and that's a difference. I've read or listened to some books that are read by the author, and that tends to make a slight difference, a little less sincerity when it's not them, and sometimes somebody can add on a little bit extra in an audiobook. So I do prefer it to be read by the author, but at the same time, it was I enjoyed the book. And I'm not really doing it enjoy, not enjoy, because there's certain aspects of all books I like and certain aspects I don't. I'm not even an author, so I don't really feel completely okay telling you a book's not good. But this is a book that I did thoroughly enjoy. And now for my biggest takeaway. Like I said, I read this January 21st, 2019. So that's a minute ago. I mean, we're talking 3 years ago. So I can just give you a few of my biggest takeaways. The first one is that life can give us multiple chances. Gucci Mane, if you know him from a generic kind of TMZ or big news station type guy, then you know he's probably been through some stuff. But when you read this book, you really see all the personal stuff that he's been through growing up in the South in the US. You can see the issues he's had with narcotics, drugs, alcohol, stuff like that. You can see the issues he's had with women. You can see the issues he's had with family members. But you can really see how, if you keep moving forward, if you do one day wake up and try to be better at anything, you can make that choice, and life oftentimes can give you a second chance, especially if you have little money. My second biggest takeaway is the dangers of lean, really. It's something that's all over the place where I'm from in Houston, and it's something that you can't really know how evil it can be, because a lot of people don't even realize that it's pretty much liquid heroin. And with that being said, Gucci Mane had a lot of fits and a lot of mind terrorizing things that happened to him when he was sipping lean, and especially when he mixed the lean with other drugs like perks and other pills and stuff to be in the studio. Through his stories, he really showed how the negative effects that some of these drugs have on you. Because some people can sip every day and it just chills them out, whatever. Some people, it actually kind of turns them psychotic. And with that being said, Gucci Mane is one of those people that it turns psychotic. And it was really eye-opening to see that, because I've seen a lot of people sipping and stuff and chilling mostly, not really super energetic or not really getting a lot of things done. And some people can probably sip and it not really affect them. They can go to work and do all that type of stuff. But with that being said, there are some people who it really destroys their life. And this was a story of somebody who who lean really destroyed their life. And that kind of segues me into my next point, and that is that it's okay for people who create if your vice leads to that creation and one day it has to change. So let me explain some. A lot of Gucci Mane's hottest tracks and his biggest, when his name was the biggest and stuff, was when he was having all these legal battles, when he was fighting all this drug addiction, when he had so many more internal demons that he had to deal with. And so some of those demons and some of that negativity for sure led into his fame. And he had to realize, I think, that even if his music maybe suffered in the grand scheme of things a little bit, or if he had a few less fans and stuff like that, it was way more important that he had his own mental health and his own physical health. As somebody who does want to create, I want to write, I like to make these videos and stuff like that. If there are vices in my life that are like destroying other parts of my life but making my art better, there's a way, I think, to kind of navigate that mind space and try to figure out how you can still create that art and how you can not let those vices consume you. So just seeing an artist who made millions and millions of dollars while still being at his worst and then kind of took a step back but was personally better is eye-opening. And there are other examples like that. Like Kevin Hart says that's how his life was too. As the turmoil was the highest is when he was his funniest, but he'd rather kind of sacrifice some of that fame for less turmoil. And lastly, who's it for? Obviously, it's for rap fans, it's for Gucci Mane fans. If you're a fans, if you're a fan of his music, if you're a fan of his story, I think you could really get something from it. If you're an American Southerner, I think you can really find some empathy and sympathy for people who are from situations like he is down in like Mississippi, through Alabama, and even up through Atlanta and Georgia and stuff. A lot of those people come from such destitute situations. Gucci Mane really highlights some other rappers that he's helped put on through the years and where they come from and how a lot of them come from like literally nothing or like less than nothing. And so if you want to kind of expand your mind on that and kind of understand why some of these rappers and these celebrities from the South move the way they do, I really feel like this book can really help you empathize with these people. And so with that being said, the Autobiography of Gucci Mane, I definitely, it is something that I would pick up again, hope maybe even listen to again. I'm constantly trying to read new books, so it's actually very rare I get to read books multiple times. If you've read the book, if you've listened to the book, feel free to add your comments in the comment section below. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Go pick up a book. I'll see you guys later.